Oh, let's do an introduction first. How about
Sure.
that? I forgot the intro. Welcome everyone to DNS Unfiltered. Today we have a very special guest Matthew Fox, who is a content creator now with Tom Lawrence. You guys are collabing on the Future of Lawrence Systems YouTube channel, and you're responsible for the community. I've seen you in their Discord channel. You got a lot on your plate. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me.
Hey, what up? That was my Wolverine impersonation. How was
That was
that?
good. You got some of the
Hey, thanks for having me here today. This is fun. We've gotten off to a start that is definitely not exactly on the rails, but that's perfectly fine because I don't see any racks for anything to be railed onto, so that's no big deal. Yeah, my name's Matt Fox. I've been working in the MSP space since 2015. Worked at an MSP till 2023, and I've been working with vendors and content creators like Tom Lawrence for the past couple of years. I've been in IT since I started my career back in 2000. I've run IT departments. I've run digital media departments. I've dealt with some significant security situations, 9/11 being one of them. I had a brush with the Napster hack attacks. If you Google my name the right way, you'll find some interesting documentation.
Wait a minute. What
And
is the right way?
you just got to know the right words, and then you'll see my name start popping up in documents.
You have to use the middle initial? Napster.
I don't think the middle initial is in the document I'm thinking of. There's only one or two documents left on the internet. You know, they say that the internet forgets or doesn't forget. It never forgets, but I don't know. It's kind of slipped its mind with these docs, and I feel pretty good about that.
Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
you popped on here saying the statement, it wasn't DNS. So just for everyone listening, we're recording on a day where Google and Cloudflare are both down. And honestly, I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to do this because the internet apocalypse was happening. Turns out it wasn't DNS, but it was BGP, which is kind of DNS.
It's another one of those acronyms.
Worldwide Networking Protocol, Border Gateway. So that's actually how DNS Filter runs our Anycast network. So yeah. I know very little about BGP other than what it means and what it does, but how it works, no clue.
Same thing. Any routing protocol, like what's it? RIP is another one that I never really got to know back when I was doing the network engineering work earlier in my career. It's one of those acronyms I just thought I would get to later in life, and I guess I just didn't have to really, now that I do the content creation work.
That's called the march of technology. If you forget an acronym for long enough, you don't even have to learn it.
That's it. That is some advice I'd like to see on a LinkedIn post right there.
That's making a note to self.
I might have to talk to the folks over at the National Society for Unnecessary Technology Acronyms, NSUTA. You can visit them.
Isn't Tom a member from that?
He might be a member. He might be a founder. He might be a part of a group that's loosely organized to have a little fun with that in the future. But very cool. NSUTA.WTF is a domain, which is just perfect.
So, Matthew and I, is it okay if I call you Matthew or Matt? What do you prefer?
It's all the same. It's all the same.
Okay. I'm going to use Matt since we're bros here.
That's
so
it.
We've actually been chatting on LinkedIn quite a bit. Like Matt has done a lot of content on some things on the Lawrence Systems YouTube channel, which I was very interested in because I'm doing some Homelab stuff right now. Get some new hardware, very excited. And some of your videos were clutch, came in very helpful. Nice. And you were kind enough to share some Docker Compose files with me. So now I have a beautiful, terribly looking Ansible script that'll spin up exactly my stack that I'm looking for. So thank you for that, first of all.
Of course. Whenever I can help someone with that, and handing you those Docker container files, just fun. Knowing that they work and they work for other people makes me really happy. Well, speaking of, we got to bring up 45 drives. How's your machine looking? Is it coming together?
It's gorgeous. Other than I have some older GPUs hanging out of the top of it because they're just like a hair too long to actually fit inside with the door closed. Yeah, that's not going to fit. The Teslas are not going to fit. I'm actually in the market for a, what do they call them? SFF, whatever, small form factor GPU. Yeah. And I've seen some really good ones. There's one from PNY that does like 20 gigs of VRAM, which is very important for the AI stuff. So yeah, I'm in the market. If anyone out there's got one that's used, let me know.
I'm actually going to hopefully be reviewing an AI-based NAS pretty soon, which seems pretty sweet. It's running a Ryzen processor. It's got an AMD GPU and I think they've got an NPU in there too. And I'm pretty sure it starts, or I want to get this right. I think they're going to send me a model. It's got 96 gigs of RAM to start.
Wow.
And it's got space for 4 drives in it for a nice bit of a RAID array or ZFS, depending on what your preferences are. That's going to be exciting. I can't
So
wait to get my hands on that.
I feel like I need to brag publicly about my stats, which are, let's see, 80 terabytes of disk, spinning Rust, nothing fancy. I've got a terabyte mirrored for the boot drives. And then I've got a 64 core Ryzen CPU, but it's Rome, so it's not super new or anything. And then I have, what is the other one? Oh, the RAM, 128 gigs of RAM, which is just
That's nice.
the most
That's
I've ever
nice.
seen in my whole life.
All right, so you got these machines. Wait, actually, did you name this machine?
No, because I actually come from the DevOps world, so I gave it like like blah 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 0-01 because
Yes,
it's like it's cattle to me, not a pet.
I used to do that at my job. I was looking at a network diagram from 2002 the other day, and the company was Nifty, NFTE, and it was like NFTE-NY-001. So it was like the organization, the physical location, and then the number. And there were certain numbers that were designated for servers and everything. And then I don't know when I stopped doing that for myself, because I've got the most ridiculous machine names. There's the Docker host that you saw in the Pangolin video I did a couple of weeks ago, and its name is Big Sexy. It's literally just named Big Sexy.
Of course.
And it's named after a character from like a really, really, I wouldn't say really obscure. It's just not Fast and the Furious, a Vin Diesel movie where he played like a DEA agent. And there was this dude, Big Sexy, that had like a chihuahua, and he took over the movie at one point. So I named it after him. And I got another machine behind me that I'm working on. I got a new board coming in for that pretty soon. And that's the Moneymaker. So I got Big Sexy and the Moneymaker behind me all times.
That's like actually their host names, isn't it?
Yes. Hold on, can I do a screen share? You can see Big
Sure,
Sexy's
you
up
can
and
do a
running
screen
right
share.
now. How do we, okay, share entire screen. You can see the entire left screen, right? Yeah, good.
All right,
there we go. Big
got.
Sexy right there.
That's awesome.
I usually have 5 different Raspberry Pis up and running, but 2 of them are down for surfacing at the moment. The Synology, like I said, the Moneymaker is currently offline, and so is Zoltan, which is the other machine that I have here at the house.
Zoltan? Is that G.I. Joe or something else? That's
Nah, man,
Zoltar is from the movie Big.
Okay. Oh, geez,
the
fortune
teller. We're not
going
to talk about anything on this podcast if anyone's still listening.
Zoltan is a fictional character from Dude, Where's My Car? So, like, at a point in the movie, they had, like, this cult, right? And the guy was like, watch out, it's Zoltan. And whenever you hear them say Zoltan, everyone's like, Zoltan! And they would do, like, a Z symbol with their hands. And now I've got this machine under here, and whenever friends come to the house and they refer to it, everyone literally just goes like this immediately. Like, we'll have a hackathon here. It'll be like 15 of us in this room and the room behind. And as soon as you hear someone mention Zoltan, because there's like a resource on it, Zoltan!
So you are in contact with a bunch of nerds. How do they usually name their servers? Are they more in the cattle or pet camp?
I think cattle for the most part. I think that it depends on how you look at the technology. For many years, it was nothing but a tool for me. And now, because I get to teach and create content, a lot of my machines have become playgrounds. They have to be a place that I consider to be a place where I'm comfortable blowing up and doing whatever I got to do. And I think that giving things names like that kind of helps with that a little bit. They don't feel as disposable. They feel like an area, something that gets broken in over time. And I don't know, maybe I just like anthropomorphizing things.
Sure.
Because I've got a pair of 3D printers named Bebop and Rocksteady. Can you tell what decade I grew up in?
I know. You don't even need this shirt. It's fine. So I'm curious. So you're on a pretty large YouTube channel. How many followers does Lawrence Systems account have?
We're closing in on 370,000. And an announcement went up the other day about 60 million views that we got, but it was inaccurate. It's 71 million views. I was like, that's 11 million, folks. What's going on here? It's an
Yeah,
amazing number to work with, though. It's
use some
incredible.
rounding error in those kind of numbers, I guess. That's
10 mil
very
here and there.
impressive.
And it's a lot of fun to work with an audience that size, and it's something I used to do in the past, and I love doing it again. I worked in publishing. I worked for magazines, namely Latina Magazine, which is where I was at for a very long time. And we used to do tons of interactive events online with the audience, and it would be hundreds of thousands of people at one time. And it was a lot of fun to address them, but I didn't really have a whole lot in common with the audience. Fashion and beauty and lifestyle really wasn't my thing. But if we're going to talk like GPUs and keyboards and input devices and voltages, hell yeah. And it's great. I get messages from people all over the world on different services. In fact, you were asking me where to message me on. I was giving you like a fairly strict list where I was like, you can find me here, here, here. You're going to have to authorize this. And it's to control the flow a little bit. But there are some networks out there like Reddit that you can message me on. And I wake up on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, there's 50 or 60 messages waiting for me. And they're
Wow.
questions or opinions. What do you think of this? Or, hey, check out this thing that I just did. I love building custom keyboards. And people reach out to me with their photos all the time or stories like, hey, I saw this Lily 58 that you built a couple of years ago. And it got me into it. And I was having trouble with my hands. I had some repetitive stress injuries, Matt. And now we're good. We're good to go. Thank you. Like that's a really cool thing to see get
Yeah.
messages for. And again, the names, that keyboard, Cinnamon Rolls Royce. Wait, Cinnamon Rolls Royce. That's what it is. Yeah.
I think
We had
rice
a
is
whole,
better.
not only is it named Cinnamon Rolls Royce, we AI generated an entire song about it. And it was the most beautiful, like hip hop, New York kind of like Staten Island. Name is Cinnamon Rolls Royce. Dip my ass and taste his choice. Donuts and nothing but tasty bagels. Stop frontin'. I think that's how it started in the beginning.
That's pretty good. Was that Udio or Suno?
I think that was Udio when they first came out, like maybe like the first week or something like that it came out. Me and some of the guys I worked with just went nuts on that thing, probably killed the bandwidth of the office that we were in messing with it, but so much fun. And, we're getting really close to having that locally. I was
Yeah.
generating instrumental audio on my machine over the weekend, last weekend. And that's the Docker host back here. And it's got a RTX 3050 with only 6 gigs of RAM. So, low cost, under a $200 GPU. And I was generating instrumental music on the machine. It's a pretty cool
Yeah, I
thing to
think
do.
it's really important for businesses, especially businesses with technical people that would know how to like deploy and maintain this stuff. Is that you can run like ChatGPT and Midjourney and soon to be Udio and like even video generators. Like you can actually run those locally if you have the hardware, of course.
Yeah.
And that is sometimes it can be pricey.
Have you done
I got
much?
some price alerts set on a few places right now. But you can, like, I have like an Ansible script that will just spin up like Comfy UI from
Mm-hmm.
your Docker compose file, and a few other services like N8N. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
I actually use Pangolin. Thanks for your video
Nice.
again.
That was a fun video, by the way. That was a
And
really fun video to do.
like there's a lot of and of course Olama and Open Web UI. Like there are tools out there that are on par with what you can
Oh, yeah.
what you can pay for. And if you have the GPU and the electricity, you can do this yourself.
The electricity is where it hurts. Did you take a look at anything LLM yet? I've been using it
I've
more
looked
than
at
Open
that
Web.
locally before.
Oh, there's some of the custom agent actions in there are getting really good. I wrote a workflow the other night that looked at a Lawrence Systems video, gave me a synopsis of what the video was about, and then analyzed the comments for anything that was critical. You guys could have done better with this or that was incorrect, so that we could look at a video and go, it's been a year since we've hit this topic, and now we have an idea of exactly what people want. And I just thought that was like the coolest use for an LLM. Everyone's out here, making LinkedIn posts and photos of themselves looking like they're Indiana Jones, but to be able to analyze data that's on the internet like that and get some really great suggestions to help us improve content. That's
There's
an
a lot
awesome thing
of
to have at our
there's so many
disposal.
workflows you could do. I could think of like you can take all of the comments from all of the videos and
Mm-hmm.
have that kind of help uh, create the path of like what topics you're going to cover next. Like what are people
Topic
asking? Because you
verticals.
can't read thousands of comments or the 50 messages you get. Plus, I'm sure your email inbox is super quiet. So you've got all this mountain of incoming information
Oh
with
yeah.
no way to parse it.
And a way to funnel it and filter it, if you will, is a nice thing to have. And I, gosh, you saying how all those messages, I have a compulsion. I have to read them. I read every single thing that comes in. I read everything that's look, dude. I've got a reference manual from like 19. Ooh, my video's stopping on me, isn't it? I've
It'll
got a
come back. Don't
reference
worry.
manual from like 1981 on my desk for Tandy's GW Basic. I don't know. I'm never gonna refresh. I'm never gonna write basic again. Like 10 go to 20, please. But it's there. I've got a compulsion. Everything that gets put in front of me with information I have to take in.
That's the
Um,
great part of having like a home lab or a home server is like you can be a hoarder and it's all contained in these bits on this black box.
oh, I got a
No
question
one
about
knows about your obsession.
that's a yeah. I got to ask you. You mentioned having a whole ton of spinning Rust. Do you go really high quality with your drives? Or do you find yourself buying some budget drives now and then, depending on usage?
I buy Iron Wolf Pros
Oh,
refurbished. That's
okay,
all pretty much all I buy. And one of them I thought actually died when I put them all in. I think I have six of those. Then I have six old like 4 terabyte ones. And
nice.
I thought one of the newer ones died at 20 terabytes each. And I was like, oh gosh. So I went on to look to get a new one. You can't even get 20 terabytes anymore. You can only get 24s, I think. I was like, oh great. Now I'm gonna have 4 wasted terabytes because ZFS is king
Mm-hmm.
of file systems, blah blah blah. But anyway, I
Did you
digress.
did you like do like a stick it in the freezer, see what happens kind of a thing with them,
I let
or
it resilver and it actually just worked.
oh,
I'm using TrueNAS virtualized in Proxmox, and
nice.
TrueNAS just took care of it and hasn't had any issues since. So I'm just crossing my fingers, hoping it's good.
The reason I ask is because I have been purchasing these NVMEs off of like AliExpress, knowing full worth what I'm getting. There's no question when you buy a $7 NVMe, you're really getting NV. The ME is just not there. But I've been buying these things, and I set a bunch of these up into a machine the other day and thought I was going to install Proxmox. And then I found out every single one of this model drive has the same serial number on it.
Like it's
So
hard coded as the same drive, basically.
I installed Proxmox and then I rebooted the machine, and Grub was just like, And I'm like, why do I see the same serial number like 7 times on my screen? And it was between having them like on board and then like in a separate adapter that had like another four of them.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
gosh,
you can't use these together. They're great for testing quickly, see
singles.
how a machine works or something like that as throwaways, but you can't put
Yeah,
them in
no
machines
computer is
together.
gonna like that. They're like, this is the same drive. I do not know what you mean.
Yeah, it didn't go well. I'm just happy I didn't try like building a RAID array or something like that. The machine would have probably exploded like that guy's head in scanners or something like that. Um, so with your home labbing, and I realize we're here to talk with me, and I'm just curious, what do you got going in there other than the AI stuff that I put over to you? You got to be doing some video encoding because you've got the two TI 1080s. I think you have.
Yeah, they're those are more of like a testing situation. They were actually my old Bitcoin miner or Litecoin,
Oh,
Ethereum, etc. So I was like, I do want to put some GPUs in this thing, but I don't want to go buy some unless I know that it works. So I have like, the NVIDIA Docker runtimes and all that stuff to make sure they actually work. And it worked. They work really well, but they're just old and slow. But a lot of what I do, so I've been running a home lab or a home server, whatever, for about 10 years. So I like cut cable like a decade ago. And I use that for my home entertainment, the R stack. Don't tell anybody. You're not even supposed to say that. That's like a dirty word on YouTube. But anyway, um, so yeah, it's been doing home entertainment stuff. A lot of purchase
okay.
stuff gets ripped, things like that. But it's so easy for my entire family, my wife
Oh
and my
yeah.
child, to use Plex. I think I have Plex now. Thinking about Jellyfin, there's a lot of license issues that are getting a little questionable. But we've been using Plex for about a decade. Got the lifetime pass at that time, so it was, I don't know, on like a sale, it was like $30, $50. So I'm in a good spot with the the workflow that I use. I just needed some new hardware, and it felt like it was time to get like a big boy rack mountable because all my network gear is already rack mounted.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm going to get the nice case at 45 drives, which I understand you talked to recently. And it
Yeah.
is just the best hardware. I remember when I think it was, see, the iPhone came out 2007. So I was like in the working field or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
my mom had gotten me like this compact Presario handheld with the stylus thing.
Oh my gosh, I had the
It was like the
HP.
Newton, but slightly better.
There was the Jornada and the compact had. Oh my goodness, yeah, flashback.
It
Oh
was
my
terrible.
goodess, yeah,
I mean, it's like Windows based,
yeah.
which, they weren't trying to make
WinCE,
a mobile operating system. It was just
yeah.
like cut down, trim down Windows on the
Mm-hmm.
thing. And I was like, Mom, how much was this thing? She's like, it was a lot. I was like, let's take it back. I'm not going to use it. And then it was like 2 years later when the iPhone came out. I didn't even have an AT&T account, and you had to have AT&T then.
I
And I went
remember.
and bought it and used it just with Wi-Fi basically. And I was like, this is good hardware and software. Like this is what I want to use. So I waited until my contract ran out and then got to AT&T so I could use it like as a real phone. And I've got the same feeling with that 45 drives Homelab case. And I was like, this is going to be the platform for my home life for the next decade or more,
Oh
hopefully.
yeah.
So I was like, and a lot of people will hate this, but I didn't mind spending, I think it was 800 when I got it. I think it's a little bit more now, but it is really good hardware, and you can just tell the quality and you can almost say love that they put in
Oh
to
yeah.
their hardware, to the metal, like all the folds and the
It's
the edges are not sharp, they don't cut you, things like
ev-
that.
everything's rolled. Everything has been what deburred. I think would be the term
Mm-hmm.
for that. They're powder coating the casings, and they just look great. I've got a Pro 4 that they had sent me, and they put my face on it, which was pretty funny. Like it came in, and it was just like. And but performance wise, it's a great machine. They gave me I selected one with a Xeon. I like Xeon processors. That's one of those things I get a lot. I get some hate for that these days, but I'm like,
They're
I'm a
sitting here.
Xeon boy. I
I
can't
might as
help
well
it.
use them.
But
How many Xeons do you have in that drawer?
don't ask.
Too many. I used to have
Well,
this obsession where I would go to our local dump and I would take like our trash or whatever. And there's always that computer bin.
yep.
And it's like, did it rain in the last week? Let's take a little peek and see what's in there. My wife's like, get out of there. I'm like, come on, that's fine. I'm just
I,
looking around.
I got a contact over at AliExpress at a vendor that I've gotten to know over the past 4 or 5 years. And every now and then I'll get an email and it's like, hey, Matt, we just came into like this thing of system pulls. Do you want anything? And I forget, that's like a 3.4 gigahertz Xeon 2011-3 model with 20 core 40 thread. I think I got like for $8.
Nice.
So I was like, yeah, I'll take 10 of those. Send them on over.
It's
So
like,
I do have a bit of a stockpile here of machines to be able to build. But you're absolutely right with 45 and the quality. That's I think the best thing about what I've seen from them, the quality, and also almost a brand neutrality. There's nothing proprietary about their equipment. I've got in mine, I'm sure you've probably got like an ASRock brand motherboard or something like that.
yeah, I think I forget the name, but yeah, it's an
Right.
ASRock server board with 10 gig Ethernets.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you get that. You get the management port probably with it and some other
Mm-hmm.
things. And it's just
IPMI, which is super easy to use. I've
yeah,
never used that before, and I was like, "Oh
yeah.
wow, this is great."
It was like I think the last time I had done remote management would have been like Lights Out or something like that on HPs years ago. And it was great to see how everything functions with this, but it's just solid. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. There are industry standard brands and parts being used. Nothing is custom manufactured with regards to the internals, but it's custom. I forget what the term is that they use for it. Custom. It's not custom manufactured. There's a term they use that's really great. That really is saying that they're building these machines for you, and that goes back to the quality that you were talking about.
Yeah, and you feel
And
that when you get it. Like you take it out of the box, everything is well packaged, and there's like a letter in there that's like, "Thanks for like welcome to the family" type of letter. Like, oh,
oh yeah,
thanks.
oh,
Like you
it's
kind of want to
miles.
write back and say hi, thank you.
Send them some muffins or something, you know.
Yeah, you do. You want to.
But it is the polar opposite, and I didn't even think about this till now. It is the polar opposite of dude, you're getting a Dell. because that's just like I'm shoving this thing in your face. With 45, you're like, please bring it to me. I have configured this to my needs. It's exactly what I want. I understand what the workload's going to be. I'm choosing the right hardware for it, and I can't wait for it to arrive in the mail. It's a very different situation. And honestly, it's the first time I've done a BTO type of order like that. That's been concierge is not the right word, and that's almost ass kissing, but friendly and very much
Hmm.
focused on guiding you towards making the right decision, not the right sale. It wasn't get the highest end this, get the highest end that. It's what are you going to do with this machine? Do you need 128 gigs of RAM, or are you good at 64? Because you're probably not going to go above that with what you're trying to get done. And I hate waste. And as soon as I said that to them, they sat down with me, like, let's talk about exactly what you're going to do to make sure you have room with as far as resources go, but you don't have like this, huge amount of stuff that you're never going to access. That drives me nuts. And they really went through it all with me. And I
That's what I
appreciate
have.
that. I think that being in charge of backups and running things like disaster recovery cabinets cross country, I've always gotten to the point where I'm like, yeah, minimal data, minimal data. I don't give myself room for sprawl to take place. It's
Hmm.
sort of like I contain my insanity in this room. If you can't tell, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in here between like gigantic aquariums, old Microsoft certifications, uh, Danish butter cookies. We got everything in here.
Gotta have
Actually, hold on. You're going to
snacks. You
like
gotta have
this.
snacks.
I'm just going to assume, oh, is my camera acting up again? There we
Don't
go. I'm
worry,
back.
it'll be fine in the recording.
I'm assuming that, you're not going to think, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of Danish butter cookies in this guy's office space. No.
Oh, there's a bunch. Wow. Oh, wow. What is
Just
that?
microcontrollers, Arduinos, ESP32s, Pro Micros, you name them. They're just all in here for
So you're a
projects.
bit. Matt is a bit of a hoarder. A bit of a hoarder.
Yeah, I can't help it. If it blinks or it's got a light on it or something like that, it's probably in here. But yeah, there's a
And
lot of
going back to 45 tribes, like I think there's like a deficit of just delight in the in the tech industry, in the MSP
absolutely.
industry. Like vendors are guilty of this a lot. DNS filter strives to not be like that, but there's just a like money extraction vacuum cleaner on for a lot of vendors, and I think MSPs are like getting really really sick of it.
I agree with you, and I'm sure that it extends into internal IT departments as well, because I had my
Hmm.
share of that before moving into the MSP space. You get a budget together, you know what you need, and then the next thing you turn around, you quote something, it's like 3 times what you expected it to be, and you haven't even put a power supply in the thing yet. You know, like,
And that's the crazy like other side of the coin from like Homelab and open source software. It's like, but there is a free option for this, and this is something I did want to ask you.
mhm.
So there is really great open source software that you can use for free. A lot of them have a model where their business model is like you pay for support if you want that, or they'll host it for you, that type of stuff. But there are really good versions of lots of software that businesses need if they maintain it themselves that they can use for free. They could pay extra for support, hopefully keep the company alive, and updates coming out. Do you think there is a way to make like a fully or close to open source MSP or IT department?
Ooh, yeah, I did it.
Oh, you did.
When I worked at Latina Magazine, it was the peak of like the financial crisis of around 2008. And we had gear that was dying out left and right. And we didn't have the money, the budget to pay for brand new servers and proper licensing in certain areas. So I started making replacements of equipment. Imagine having, oh boy, what was, I got to think about this for a second. I'm on PTSD, man. The second day I worked at that place, the PBX caught fire. That's how bad it
Oh,
was. Um, yeah, poor Nortel. But there was a server. It was a Hewlett Packard ProLiant DL380 because it was like a 2U or 4U. It was a bigger one. And it had a backplane that died every other week for the first 6 weeks I worked at the company. Imagine the RAID backplane just dying on you every other week. It was like, oh, is it payday? Okay, time to get a new backplane. And I ended up just getting like an old workstation that someone had, like a IBM Precision. No, it's Dell. I don't
Just
remember what.
anything that was stable. I just need some
Yeah,
stable hardware.
exactly. I got that running. It had 2 SCSI drives in it. I think I was able to set up at least software RAID on it and replace the functionality of that machine. And it was running Debian. And I think I had like some Samba file shares, AFP kind of emulation, and some other stuff there. And as time went on, I just kept removing items from the network. Now, software wise, that doesn't always work inside of a business because you do have to have interoperability with other businesses, especially when you're doing production work, video and publishing and things like that. But on the back end, I think you can. Security concerns, absolutely. There are many security concerns, especially with, say, like an open source RMM or other type of management configuration state related tool. I think that there's a good discussion there, and it's not for today because there need to be smarter people than us on it.
Exactly.
But how do you properly secure an open source tool? Is there a component to that, a black box, if you will, that has to be generated by the organization that's going to use it so that is unique to itself? Almost a gauntlet, if you will, between functionality and the interface to ensure that even though the product is open source, there is some kind of artificially proprietary mechanism in there, a key, if you will, something that has a particular pattern that needs to be met to be able to function a certain way. Maybe there needs to be something like that in the future. Who knows? But there is a MacGyver out there that I'm sure is going to make it happen at some point.
Yeah, there is like the Homelab community, I think are really good at like securing like their access.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like DNS or like using Pangolin is pretty good. You can tie that into other systems to make it, access is really
Mm-hmm.
good. But I think where they miss out and where a lot of like people that are new to this skimp is like hardening the server itself. So like Proxmox is running on Debian. If you
Mm-hmm.
spin up a VM on Debian or Ubuntu or Fedora or whatever, that is not really secure until you do a few things to it. Things like disabling the root user,
Mm-hmm.
SSH key,
No
access
password
only,
authentication, of course.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
and running things like closing the firewall as much as you can, UFW, and then like running things like fail to ban are really helpful. And then I actually installed CrowdSec on my Pangolin install,
You
and I
got it.
got myself in trouble because I banned myself. I was like, what is going on? I cannot, like, the internet works. Like, it wasn't today. I would be like, oh, it's probably Google or Cloudflare. But I was like, just my home server is like in the
How,
next room and I
you're like,
can't get to
how did
it.
this thing just become isolated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I installed CrowdSec on there. So I like SSH'd in and looked at the list of IPs that were banned, and my home WAN IP was on there. I was like, yeah,
It
probably should have
happens.
configured that. But yeah, I learned that, the hard way, but only for like an hour. It was funny.
That's great though, and you're right. Hardening of servers is something that is unfortunately neglected, and I think it's because everyone considers themselves to be somewhat safe. It's in your home. You're safe in your home. Not so much. You might as well consider the internet without care the same thing as leaving, say, the egress window to your basement open or something like that.
Exactly. I love that you use the word egress to your basement window.
It just
Nerd.
that felt right.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
But that's really what it is like, and you do have to take steps to take care of your security, maintain a security posture that is the equivalent to what I think you would do in the workplace. And I think that's a perfectly good thing to do. It's practicing what you preach all day. If you're going to go to clients' offices and tell them what they're doing wrong and how to do it right, I think you got to follow the same exact advice.
And I
And
think that's the best piece of having a home server at your house is to learn that
oh
stuff
yeah,
in a safe-ish environment. Like you should probably have it on a VLAN so that
mm-hmm.
it doesn't infect. Let's just use the word infect the rest of your network while you're learning stuff. But those are real skills that apply to the real world. Like I did a
Absolutely.
job that was my job all day, just securing servers, deploying software via Ansible and Docker containers. Like that's a real job. And if you can do it at home securely, you can do it in a
In the
corporation.
workplace. Yeah. Gosh, I think you've mentioned Ansible a few times, in fact, and I haven't
Yeah.
worked with Ansible in years. I used to deploy websites for big pharma using Ansible. I was the IT deployment guy / marketing kind of reviewer. So whenever I want to say it was like a 20, I forgot the code from the FDA. Whenever a prescription has a revised prescription sheet talking about, like side effects and that kind of stuff, I think it's like a
Oh yeah.
2270 something. It comes out, and I was like, I had space in like their walled garden for a bunch of different big pharma companies. So I would get to read like, how badly your kidneys are going to suffer from this drug and go, okay, that doesn't give me too much of a nightmare. Let me fire up Ansible real quick. And I would like deploy the site for them. And it always felt so strange to do, but Ansible is so darn nice. You get your playbooks in place, you get everything running, and you can bring so much up with Ansible. So I got to ask you, what else are you doing with it other than sort of bringing up some of the Docker stuff? Do you have any other kind of like provisioning going on in the Homelab?
I actually used Ansible to harden Proxmox itself, harden TrueNAS, and then spin things up, create a couple of cloud init files.
Ooh.
So like my goal was to have run an Ansible script that could redeploy my entire server if I were to just nuke it to zero. I'm not anywhere close to that. And I probably never will be. But that's in the back of my mind, I'm like, it would be really cool if
Everyone
that
needs a big
server
red
burned
button.
down or 45 drives wanted to send me another one, then I could just go zoop, and it would just be almost identical to the one that I have.
That'd be a pretty cool thing. That's almost Matrix right there, man. You'd be like, we're good, all set, let's go.
Yeah.
I
My
love
my
that.
open web UI is back up. My my innate in workflows are running. It would just be back in business.
That That's gorgeous. I mean, that's what I do for restores for my Raspberry Pis. I don't know if you have any Pis, but every now and then, I mean, I think I burned through so many of them over the years. I've had a couple of bum models where like you do like 3 or 4 reboots and the SD card gets completely corrupted. And it takes some time to go, I think it's the device,
Yeah,
because you
should I
keep replacing
just
the
get a new one?
SDs. And
How
I
many
ended up,
pies do you have in those drawers behind you? Like four,
I mean,
five,
there's like
10.
one here, there's one hanging here on a PoE connection. There's another one hanging over here on a PoE connection. Actually, oh, let me get a little more careful with this one. This
Oh, you're
has
like, that one's running my network.
actually that has the Lawrence Systems project management system on it.
Yes. Actually,
We've
I got my
I'm
start home labbing on Raspberry Pis even before I was working at DNS Filter as a
oh
DevOps engineer. And I was using things like Kodi. This is when I first cut the cord. I started with Kodi and on Raspberry Pis.
oh
Way worse than the R stack. But anyway.
I forgot about Cody.
Oh,
Goodness.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I think the Pi is a great place to start with Homelab. That is one of the first things I put in front of friends' kids when they want to get into technology.
Yeah,
It's
you're like,
either in our
this is a computer.
That's it. Give them the Pi, get them interested. Last weekend, and this is going to be part of a Lawrence Systems video, so I'm not going to go too far into it, but
Spoilers.
a friend's kid came to me and goes, Matt, I got a project I want to get into this weekend, not weekend, this summer, and I want your help building a system because I know you got stuff. You can put something together for me. And the kid's looking at me. He's like, come on, come on, come on. You got this. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, all right, what do you want to do? So he starts trying to explain it. He's like, well, I need some Docker containers and I want to, he's talking about LAMP environments and some other stuff. So I'm like, okay, you're talking about going to the web, maybe a development. PHP is an interesting choice. And he goes, well, you know it so well that you can help me. That's why I've chosen it. I was like, damn, kid, you're kind of smart. All right, you're figuring out a
You're doing
support
your
structure for this.
research.
So I go, the only thing here is you're missing one thing. And these are this kid and some of my other friends' kids have grown up with me giving them hard times about technology. Like I poke them and they're used to it. They like the challenges. I go, I will let you take this minis forum mini PC that I've got, but I need a document from you first. What is it? He looks at me and just kind of goes, functional requirements. Yes, they learn young and they do well. So I actually had him draft up a functional requirements document for the project that he's working on. I went over it. I made sure that the machine that I gave him would meet the requirements that he had, and I put Debian on it just to get him started because they hit Raspberry Pi. He could sit down, he'll know the basic commands, get things started. He's apt to install and do whatever he needs.
Did you at least add sudo to Debian? God, I hate that.
He was all set. He had everything he needed. It was almost like getting into a Raspberry Pi. He had a username for himself. It was enabled with sudo. Everything's good. So he felt at home. I went to the house Sunday night to take the computer away from him. And it was, again, me being a bit of a jerk, but that gets them fired like me, right? And I go, I'm taking this back. You knew I was going to do that. Did you back up your data? Yeah, I got it backed up. And he's like looking at me, like, the eyes, don't take this from me. I said, I'm taking it, but I'm not taking because I want to take it from you. I want to see what you did with it. I'm going to take some time and poke around with it. And if you set this up the way I think you should set it up, or based on your functional requirements, it's yours to keep. I got home and I was blown away. He wiped out the Debian installation and replaced it with Proxmox. I
Nice.
get in, I poke around, I start looking at the ISO images that have been uploaded into the system.
It's like Minecraft or something.
Nope. Debian 12 and Alpine Linux. I see VMs in play. Well, what's Net01? Oh shit, they set up bind. They set up a bind server.
That's not easy.
And they said it's forwarding out to quad 9 for DNS resolution. But something weird is going on here because it's not responding on port 53. Holy shit, they put a pie hole in the same VM. They set up a VM to take care of basic network services and filtering for themselves. I call him, I go, what's up with the DNS stuff? He goes, well, I wanted to set up a domain and have a reverse proxy that we could use. And in order to do that, I have to have a DNS server that I can control the records on, right? And I was like, so you didn't just throw Pi-hole on and make a couple of DNS records? No, I did things the right way, Matt.
The hard way, for sure.
You're 14. It was just like, please. But it was so cool to see that happen that it's becoming a video on Lawrence Systems. I'm not going to have names or photos, but just talk about the system. I still have it underneath my desk. I got to finish recording it tomorrow and just show what one 14-year-old mind that has an idea and is bucking the concept of vibe coding is going to do. He has a LAMP stack installed. He's got a VM with Docker running where he's got a bunch of different utilities. He figured out how to do pass-through of the AMD, not even an NVIDIA, of an AMD GPU. And he's running Ollama inside of a VM and it's taking advantage of the GPU. Like, go on to Reddit and see how many people can't figure out how to do that. And he did it.
That's awesome.
I was like shocked. That's like one of those moments where like my eyes are tearing up a little bit right now thinking about it because it's so great. But handing him an Arduino a couple of years ago and he like, hey, let's make some LEDs light up and let's look at a light sensor and let's look at a thermometer, and going from that to a Raspberry Pi and picking up basic Linux commands and understanding how to set up a system and then being given a machine and just going from that Pi and just having a couple of little local services to a full-blown network on a box with like 5 or 6 VMs that have been set up very well. A couple things could have been done better, but you know, you got to learn. But if I put that machine in front of you and said, poke around on it, you wouldn't sit here going, what is this? Or that thing doesn't make sense. You'd be like, what are we doing with this today? Yeah.
Let's plug it in.
Yeah. And that was just a really cool thing. And I'm so happy to be able to turn that into a piece of content because, again, it may not be a how-to or tutorial, but I think it can inspire people. A lot of people want to know about mini PCs. I think you mentioned that before. And you can do a lot with them if you plan out what it is that you want to do and you start off with a plan. And he had that plan. And that's why he got that machine from me. And he got that. He
probably didn't have that plan until you forced him to give you the requirements. So like you're not only teaching the internet things, you're also teaching like local kids and like family member kids or whoever, which is great because they're, you know, probably near you and you have access to the hardware. But you're like, okay, this is not just I'm not just giving you this thing. This is a lesson that I'm going to teach you. I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to teach you this lesson, and I'll see if you can learn it or want to learn it. And he passed the test.
I'm always going to be that little bit of a hard ass because that's what happened to me when I was a kid with technology. And I think it worked out well. I'll always be there to support them. I'll never push them too far. And they see the smirk. They see it. Like, I'm going to give you a hard time because there's going to be a lesson in this. And, you know, they go with it. And I appreciate that they do. And I'm sure that they appreciate the advantages of doing so, being able to have access to technology and just being handed a machine. to go take whatever it is that you're dreaming and make it something that we can maybe look at in a couple of months.
Yeah, I have a lot
That's
of younger kids in my life, like under 10, like between 5 and 10. My son's only 4, so I haven't done this to him yet. But they all have like iPads and like iPhones. Like they know how to swipe and like click, and they can do anything on an iPad when they're like 8. So I'll be like, so like nephew, how do you think that works? What do you think is happening there? And judging based on what he says, I'll be like, okay, this one's got it. This one's got the gene or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but some people are just curious
oh,
about
dude,
what's behind that glass and how is my finger making it do that?
oh, that's a big part of getting into this field, I think. And I was talking to one of my first bosses about it recently. How folks that are, I don't know, like 40s and older, we worked in data centers more than younger people today. And we sometimes have this weird server whisperer thing. Like, have you ever like walked up to a server and put your hand on it and been like, there are 2 power supplies in this thing. One is running hot and the fan is rough. This is going to go in the next 2 weeks. And it happens. Like, I
It's like
don't
some
even
people
remember
with
how.
motors and things like that. They're like,
Yeah, I think
try
there's
to
a
crank
certain
it.
tactility. Yeah, there's a certain level of tactility, I guess is what I'm getting at in that experience. And I think that's a cool thing. And there's less and less of that these days. So to be able to put more experience in front of people to learn those types of things is just awesome. I'm rambling at this point. I need a little bit of caffeine. I think I started my first meeting at 4 o'clock this morning.
Oh, only 4 o'clock this morning. Just for the audience, we're recording late in the day after we're both finished working. So that's why
Yeah,
this one. That's why this
I'm
one's off the rails quite a bit.
I'm on hour 14 right now.
I've been getting run through the ringer on Discord and LinkedIn all day, and then Slack. Gosh,
You know
you
what?
know,
Let's talk MSP for a bit. All right. I know that's what we want to
okay.
talk about. We've gone everywhere. I'm reining things in a little bit. How long have you been in the MSP space? I'm curious about that.
Well, before I've kind of had two passions in my life, which is electricity and technology. So I was
Ooh.
early in my life. My family owns an electrical contracting company. So I have an electrical license and did that. And actually, in that, near the end, we did a lot of like smart homes, and which I based around the network because I'm all about like the network's
Mm-hmm.
the next thing. Like people would be like TVs and speakers, and I'm like, no, the
Circulatory
network.
system. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I would have to tell people, like convince them to choose me over, the old school guys. I would be like, what about the speakers? Which I would do that too. But I was like, we need to have like serious network gear in here, not like Unify stuff, like
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
stuff. And so I was like, this is really interesting. And I didn't even really know the word MSP at that time. This is probably 2011, 2012. And I was like, I could, go and be like an MSP. Like I just had this thought, like I could do this for people, be like a consultant of sorts. Like I didn't even know what to
Mm.
call it. Well, a few years later, I get hired by DNS Filter, and then I'm like, oh, MSP, like that already existed. Like I didn't even know. But it's already a thing. I was very close to becoming one, but always had this fondness of like it's almost like MSPs are not the trades necessarily like electricians and plumbers are, but they're very close.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same, especially ones like Lawrence Systems who did like cabling and things like that. They are very similar businesses, but the MSP has the benefit of that recurring revenue and like software and services and consulting that electricians don't have. So anyway, when I got to DNS Filter, we needed somebody to like really focus on that after my stint in DevOps and support and product for a little while. I was kind of put in a position to really be in charge of our MSP partner program, and later on, like resellers from VARs and things like that. So for the last probably 4 years, I've been like deep into this partner MSP VAR world, and it's been like really fascinating. And I see so much potential in that business, but I see it's also like just hard. Like it has those same drawbacks as the trades, like electricians, but it has so much upside, and you have to figure out how to be good at business rather than good at technology. And I think a lot of people like me, I would probably be like, no, I don't really want to do that. I would rather do the tech stuff. So you kind of have to make this trade or find people that you can join up with that are good at both or stronger in one area than the other. But yeah, that's what I see in the MSP space. But yeah, my time, even knowing the words, probably on like 6 years.
Interesting. Yeah, I was first made aware of the word in 2005 when an MSP tried to take my job from me. So it was a very dirty word for a while. Yeah. In fact, this is great. I still have a screwdriver here because it's incredibly handy. It's just one of those things I've had for 20 years from the company Mindshift. They are an MSP. They got bought out by Rico years ago. And I successfully defended my position from them twice until I moved on to a new company and then they took over. But I've been dealing with MSPs for 20 years now. Hired, fired, worked with, collaborated, argued with, everything and anything with MSPs. And it's a very unique space to be in. It is a bit like kind of like ragtag in a way. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that you're right. There needs to be people need a certain sense of balance in what they're able to do to be successful in the space. There needs to be a balance between the technical know-how and the understanding of how to run a business properly. And quite frankly, work with customers in ways that generate revenue and make them happy. That could be a challenge at times. And there are some people that really get it done well here. Tom has done an amazing job over the years. His business partner, Jason Slagle with CNWR, amazing job. There are plenty of other MSPs, but when you get to know the people behind some of the ones that really have like kind of vibrant growth and fun factor to them, aside from the ability to deliver
Yeah.
solutions, they are typically people that have multiple disciplines or um, have their minds in so many places at once that they're just everywhere. And you see that in Tom, you see that in Jason, I see that in my old boss, and I think that's kind of hallmark to success in the space. Is that just a little bit of too much going on? And quite frankly, I love that.
Yeah. You mentioned the word ragtag, and I'm like, yeah, but in the best way.
Yeah, it is. It's like the Goonies.
It is. That's perfect. Perfect analogy.
someone's
I'll let you LinkedIn post that one.
someone's got to be like Rocky Road.
Exactly.
But that's kind of what the MSP space is like. It's very much like Goonies. Everyone's a little different. Everyone's maybe a little wacky in their own way, but everyone bands together and really great things get done. I mean, look at an organization like MSP Geek. They get so many people together to do great stuff. The yearly MSP Geek Con conference is so much fun. I didn't get there last year, but I played a large role in prep for the first year. I did a lot of the design work and all that kind of stuff and photos. Gosh, I had so much. I got a rug burn on my stomach at MSP Geek in 2023. I was
From
taking so
taking
many.
photos.
Yeah, I was like on my stomach on the rug at the hotel taking photos so much, and then all of a sudden I'm like all red. But it's worth it because it was capturing so many people having a great time, and I think again that's what the MSP space represents. For example, when I was in 2023. Now I don't know if you know this, but I like building custom keyboards, like really
Oh,
complex
really? I
stuff. Like
heard that.
maybe I got a couple of them sitting around here
I
on the
think
desk
there's
at the
like a
moment.
r slash Matt builds keyboards or something.
Actually, this is the new hotness I'm going to start using
Wow,
pretty
look at that
soon
thing.
because we don't need numbers. What are
That's
numbers anyway,
stylish.
right?
Yeah, I was like, I think you're missing a row there.
I'm missing numbers and I got two space bars. Makes no sense. But I like doing stuff like that. And my boss at the time and I decided we were going to do a pre-day at MSP Geek in 2023, call it boarding school, and build keyboards with a group of people. And it was so much fun to do. It was like 15 or 20 of us, and everyone walked away with. Oh, wait, hold on. I got it right here. This is not the board, but it's the same kind of board, a Reviung 34 split
Ooh.
ortholinear board. These are a lot of fun to build. And when the event was over and everyone was getting their keyboards packed up to get into the proper, the real beginning of MSP GeekCon, this one young man walked up to me and he was crying. And he came up to me, he's just like, Matt, and you could see the tears coming down. I was like, are you okay? I thought maybe he cut his hand or he burnt himself on a soldering iron. Like I thought he was like in some form of distress. He just goes, I got to thank you because every day when I'm done working, I play video games for like 6 hours, maybe eat something, go to sleep, do it over again. You just gave me something new to do. And you didn't just give me something new to do. I want to learn about small electronics. I'm going to go out, I'm going to buy a soldering iron, I'm going to get all this stuff, I'm going to get some of these keyboard kits. And then I got to go learn C because, you told me a little, you showed us how the firmware and these things is built, and it's a framework, and it's actually kind of easy to understand, but you have to have a basic understanding of C. And that's awesome. And I'm going to build something that's going to look really good on my desk. So I've got all these things to look forward to in a keyboard. And when he said in a keyboard, it was like this sense of disdain, like disbelief, just like out of everything, a keyboard.
He couldn't believe it either.
Yeah. But, that's the MSP community right there. Doing something because you enjoy it, you think others will enjoy it, and you turn around and you see the positive impact that even just sharing a hobby of yours has on other people. That's a big thing. And when you think about that, it wasn't just giving him something to do. Think about how many skills are most likely transferable into the workplace with what he just did. He's building an input device that he's going to customize for his own style of typing. B, small electronics. And no, you're not going to be like, hey, that Windows update's not working. Let me get my soldering iron out. But it's nice to know about things like resistors and diodes and how those types of components work, because when something goes wrong and you understand it, there's a good chance you're going to have at least a sense of what's going on. If you plug a device in, you're getting a weird hum and it's not turning on, yeah, there's probably a really bad capacitor or something someplace. Like, you pick those kinds of things up. Those are markers, there's signs of things. He's going to learn a little bit of software programming. That's just a really great skill to be able to pick up. And you got to admit, once you learn C or any derivative or descendant of C, Java, JavaScript, whatever it is, everything starts to look familiar to you. And you start connecting dots when you see things. And it's no longer a weird block of code. It's something that tells a story. And he gained that through that exercise too. And all those play into the workplace in the MSP space. So there's a beauty of just being able to say, like, you know what it is? It's giving a kid a bowl of mac and cheese and hiding the vegetables in it. That's what it is. I popped a couple of Flintstone vitamins in there for the guy, But again, it's just the MSP space, the knowledge, the randomness, the communal support that people show each other just makes it a really, really great place to be in. And gosh, the more I talk about it, the more I want to talk. I haven't talked to anyone like this in actually a couple of months, and it just feels so damn good, which is why we're off the rails. You got me, and I got like so much stuff in my head.
This is great. This is the Homelab episode of DNS Unfiltered.
This is going to be like the Criterion Collection 8-hour Lord of the Rings episode of this. Oh, wait, Tom's messaging me. Let's see. He's got something good? Ah, oh, yes.
He's all right, like, 45 drives is going to send us.
Now he's sending. He just created a new email address for a Zero Trust Networking event that we're going to be doing in the next week or so with a vendor in the space. We'll talk. You'll see the promotions for that. I'm not going to use that for this. It's good though. It's going to be a nice event for anyone that just wants to know more about ZTNA and how it works. It's not even going to be marketing related. It's just Tom and a dude talking about what it means, which is going to be fun. But again, that comes down to the fun stuff in the MSP space. I can't tell you how many people come to me and are like, Matt, Zero Trust, we got to talk about this. I don't get it. And I end up using my Willy Wonka example of you get nothing in the movie. It's like, you walk in and you start, you get nothing. And then maybe you show me your ID and I realize, okay, I have record of who you are. I understand
that you're these two things.
Yes, exactly. You are a janitor. You get access to that wing. Get a mop. And, I use that example and it makes sense. But to have Tom and someone else get up there and have this conversation and understand that it's about educating the space so that better decisions can be made. And it's not necessarily the better decision going with company A or company B. It's having the knowledge to know whether or not company A or company B is going to be the better fit for you. And that's a really cool thing to be able to offer. And I think that even, I'm sure you admit, as someone that works at a vendor, you have to take actions that are going to somehow be tied to revenue. There has to be a return on most things that go on. But in this space, when presented right, most vendors look at this and go, you're right. If we can just teach people a couple of things that are going to be valuable, maybe they'll remember us when they need something. And of all the industries that I've worked in, education, publishing, a couple of others, I've never heard that sentiment said so many times. Where it's just, you know what? Yeah, let's put a few hours into this. It's going to help people and it'll probably come back. We work in a somewhat closed system. People remember what you do, and the more good you do, the more comes back. And again, I've never seen that, even in educational industries that I've worked in. I've never seen that type of sentiment, not just said, but practiced that strongly.
Yeah, the MSP space, the people are really, we were talking about like the circulatory system of your home, your modern home. Like they are the circulatory system of the world
Oh,
with
yeah.
our connectivity, our software, hardware. Like they're bridging everything together because most people don't have the skills to do it in house.
Most people shouldn't have the skills to do in house because most people have skills
Yeah, they're
that are
doing other
concentrated
stuff.
in other areas.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I think technology has become so pervasive that sometimes we expect people to have more in that area. But shoot, if I needed to go crack my back, I'll probably paralyze myself, you know? Like,
Yeah. My wife got some acupuncture recently and was like, "Oh my god, it's the best sleep I ever had in my life." I'm like, "What did they do?" She's like, "It was right here on the wrist, and that was the spot on both wrists." I'm like, "I think you could do that yourself." And she's like, "No, you can't, you dummy."
I got, I got some paper clips in the desk. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah, right. I'll be right back.
Just come back from the basement with some darts from the dartboard.
I got some sim ejectors, and I'll just stick them in there. Get a little tap.
That's it. Have you ever gotten acupuncture or anything like that done before?
I have not, but now I have to now. I'm like, well, I had no
Uh,
idea. It was so amazing.
Give it a shot. It's bizarre. I've gone for sessions in the past. I've got significant damage to my right shoulder. I got shot in 2009 from
Oh,
attempted
wow. We should have
robbery
started
in
with that
Brooklyn.
story.
DNS? Nah, man, gunshots in my back and out the shoulder. So every now and then I do end up having really bad days. In fact, there's some nerve damage to where I'll be fine, but if I were to go like that and my arm was inflamed,
Don't do it.
I would have blacked out by now. I would have been gone.
So
And
acupuncture helps with it.
yes, it helps control the
Wow.
inflammation that leads to that level of sensitivity. And I have a friend who's an acupuncturist, and she'll come over and help me out every now and then if I really need it. And it doesn't happen that often, but there have been a couple of times where it's like I try to get out of bed and I pass out because I got to put weight on my right arm. And she's like, "We're going to do this blocking thing, and we're going to change the energy." And I'm like, "It sounds like you're, what is this? Some layer 3 kind of like chi thing? What's going on here, right?"
Yeah. You're going to
And
align my chakras too? What are
is
we
there like a
doing here?
disallow rule going on over here in my arm?
Yeah. UFW, like
But it's
close port
amazing
80. Yeah,
because
something's wrong.
it works. It really does. When I would have the problem with my shoulder and have a sharp pain before blacking out, I would have this weird thing where like my left leg would buckle, like I would just lose control of it. And she did this treatment like 3 times over the course of a week, and it just started subsiding. And when it flares up, it usually bothers me for, I don't know, a month or something like that. She
Wow.
had it cleared out in like 4 or 5 days worth of time.
Wow. So my
So
wife's
it's,
not crazy. That's what you're saying.
I mean, I cannot confirm nor deny.
Exactly.
But I think
Well,
it's worth checking out just because it's an interesting experience, if
yeah,
nothing
now I'm
else.
gonna have to go find her acupuncturist and go figure this bizarre acupuncture thing out. I'll probably be
Yeah.
I'll be a convert. I'll be telling
Now,
everybody.
what you need to do is if you're going to do that, we got to get a little custom tattoo made that's like a little reset button, like a recessed hole in the back of your neck, and you just got like a little reset. Like,
Just poke it.
I didn't realize
That would be
AI was
great.
getting that good.
You could probably like tie your nerves together to like some spot and then have like in the future, implants, augmented humans. We'll get there one day.
There's
Well,
actually
Matt,
there's, we got to call it.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
If you haven't seen it, you have to look up an episode of Ancient Aliens that's dedicated to that. There is a
Oh
guy that
gosh.
has implants all over his body. He can turn his motorcycle on. He can unlock his front door. I think he's got an altimeter inside of his wrist and a bunch of other stuff. He has a hidden compartment in a table in his living room, and he like waves his wrist over it, and it opens up to reveal all of his like equipment and management tools.
Oh, I got it right here.
I think that's
Implants and
required watching
hybrids.
for the evening as soon as we're done.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining me, and I can tell why Tom has given you the reign, so to speak, to join him on his channel because you're an amazing storyteller. Just
Thank
talking
you.
about even random things like the 14-year-old friend and your acupuncture and The
My
MSP
Danish butter
space.
cookies.
Yeah, your Danish butter cookies. Like you're like, I'm even more excited to wait for the next video to drop on lawrencesystems.com. And you can find Matt on all other places, Reddit, like we mentioned, LinkedIn. There's a Discord channel for Lawrence Systems that I'm sure you're in a lot. Probably in the
Friendster,
45 drives one a lot.
eBay. You can find me
Yeah.
on MySpace. I hope you like
Hey,
Blink 182.
and if you come across a 20 gigs of VRAM SFF GPU, hook your boy up.
I think we might be able to make that happen, man. We'll
Well,
talk soon.